We'll always listen. Thank you.
Experience in World War II.
And it used to be a resort right on the beach, all these little huts. You know, that I imagine during summertime people went there and it was really enjoyable. You know. But now they had it all fenced in, guards all around. And these little huts that maybe could comfortably handle a family of four, father, mother, and two children, had about 15, 16 guys in them. So you were cramped. There was no place to use, so you lived out of your bags. And you shaved in cold water, and you showered in cold water. This is, let's see, Japanese attack Pearl Harbor in December of 1941. Within a year, I was in Sheepshead Bay, taking my boot training. And then they shipped us out to different parts of the country. So they sent me to Cleveland, Ohio. Sure, I'm going to fight the war in Cleveland, right? And stayed there for a while. And I worked in ship stores, with shoes and shirts and all that. And we were right next to a slaughterhouse, Kreinberg and Krasny, and Peoda, Pew. I used to go in there and watch them kill, cut the throats of cattle, and hit and lamb and pigs, and it was terrible. They didn't eat meat for a month. But anyway, I got sick of that, and I volunteered for sea duty, which I don't know if it was a mistake or not. But I no sooner got the words out of my mouth than I was sent to Norfolk, Virginia, for training. So I was a seaman first class. 4 years later, when I got out, I was still a seaman first class. So I didn't do much. Yeah, gee. Yeah. But anyway, Norfolk, Virginia, after training, they put us on a train, and we were going down to Orange, Texas. And by the northern route, we went up through Ohio. We stopped a little town called Deschler, a whole trainload of us sailors. And we got off the train there because it was a filthy coal dust. It was terrible. You just couldn't breathe. You blow your nose, it was black. Everything was terrible. It was on your teeth. It was everything. So they opened up the school. They sent the pupils out. And all the mothers came and took their daughters quick. and we took a shower there. Oh, it was like heaven. And they had one little dime store, a 5 and dime store. I forget the name. But then we went in there. And when we left, there wasn't a thing left. All the underwear was sold, the socks, handkerchiefs, you know, things that we didn't have. So on we went down to Orange, Texas. There, most of us got on a ship called the USS Leopold. It was a destroyer escort. It was DE-319. It's the name and number of the ship. And it was a brand new ship, brand spanking new. So we were the shakedown crews. That meant we took it out into the Gulf of Mexico, opened her up, tried the torpedoes, fired the guns, all that sort of stuff. You know, that took weeks. Came back into port, got on a full crew from all over the country. We got the officer and we had 13 officers with the captain. We had half a dozen chief petty officers, and all the way down I got my guys, you know, senior. And we came out of the Gulf, went around the Florida Keys and up to Bermuda. We stopped at Bermuda. Right? So far the war is fine. Nothing. You know, nothing. Okay. So from there, after a little rest period, we went from there up to Maine, up to Casco Bay, Maine. And there's an island out there that the Coast Guard owned, or the Navy. And they had targets on it. And they'd have planes flying by, dragging a big sleeve, and that's what you would fire at. We had 3-inch 50 guns, 40-millimeter guns, 20-millimeter guns, 2 torpedoes amidships. And we came back to Norfolk, made a few cruises. Then we got a call, we're going to go to Murmansk, Russia, with the biggest convoy that ever left the United States up to that point. And there were, I don't know how many destroyer escorts of my class there were, There had to be 8 or 10. We had a destroyer, a Navy destroyer, which is bigger than a TE. And we had an outflanking, I guess I'd have to call it a cruiser, but it was a converted cruiser. It was a big thing, big warship. So we left Norfolk. It was quite a sight to see in the morning. The sun coming, as far as you can see, the ships all lined up, and all the signals are going, the lights are flashing. You had to have a certain order. So the whole armada couldn't move any faster than the slowest ship. And a lot of slow ships. A lot of these big, I forget the name of them, they were made out of cement. Victory ships. Well, we take off, big storm hit. Big storm, getting by Bermuda. Some of the ships try to turn around to make the back to Bermuda. And I don't know whatever happened to me. We kept going. I don't know whether they ever made it, whether they cracked up or what. And now we're heading northeast, up towards Ireland, heading for the English Channel. There's an area there called Torpedo Junction. And the reason it was called that is that's where the Nazi U-boats, the submarines, sat, because that was the route for the convoys, right? So we got airplanes, we're carrying airplanes, tanks, trucks, mechanized vehicles, cannon, you name it, everything, fuel, all heading for Russia.
How long did it take you to get there?
Well, the point is we never got there.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't, but they did. There. So you have to go north and about 700 miles from Ireland at night at about 7:30. It was my duty to go on now at the what they call the number 1 gun. And it was colder than the shades of hell. Absolutely cold. You take your candy bar and you put it outside, wait 10 minutes, it's solid, frozen solid.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So we had the ready gun. We have a skeleton crew on the ready gun, which was the second gun above the deck. This is gun number 1, which is flat on the main deck. And above it is the number 2 gun. These are long, what they call 5-inch guns. The shell is 5 inches in diameter. This one. So that's a pretty good sized shell. And all of a sudden, the alarm goes off. Oh shit, what's this? You know, here it is, 7:45. Now the guys that we relieved are already below decks. Now in order to get below decks, you had to go through hatches because you couldn't walk on the outskirts of the boat, of the ship, because of this waves over your head. You look up and all you can see is a wall of water. And you're looking at it, you can almost touch it. It's just amazing how you stay there and the water doesn't come. No. Well, sure enough, there's a German sub out there. And they spot it. Well, I never saw it. Now, on the number 1 gun, I'm the pointer. I'm the one that makes the gun go up and down. On my right is Jerry Klaus, my... Okay, you guys.
Bye. Out.
He was called the trainer. He's the guy that made the gun go this way, left to right. Behind me is a guy called the captain. And behind him, a guy we called Zombie. He took care of there was like a big steel cabinet where the shells were. And there were different kinds of shells. Star shells, which exploded in the air and lit up the area.
Oh, wow.
There were armor-piercing shells, and there were shells that exploded on contact, right? And all these things were in different sections of this large box. Right? And there was also a gentleman standing nearby who would pick up the empty casings and get them out of the way. He had these heavy asbestos gloves on, get them out of the way, throw them over the side. Look up, and there in front of us is a sub. And we're going full flank speed, and the water is just, the ship is going up in the air, bang, it down. And it's going left, and it's going right, and the ass end is swing, and the front end, and you're trying to train on it. So the Captain Bradley, what his name came, hit me on the shoulder, bang, I let one go. I also had what they call the solenoid. That would activate the mechanism of the gun would fire the shell. Bang. Thought I hit. I said, Jerry, what happened? He said, I think you hit the son of a bitch. Everybody's hollering, get those bastards, get him. Kill him, kill him. The sub is going process from right to left, on top of the water. Of course, while we're following and we're turning our beam, our broadside, there's a sub over here.
Wow.
Yeah, but below water. We didn't see it.
Didn't see it.
All of a sudden, somebody says, torpedo! And there we are, wide open, just absolutely no defense. Bang! Explosion. I thought I'd never hear another sound again in my life. That's it. Just, it was unbelievable. The ship broke in two. Now, this is a ship that's almost as long as a football field. Now, 200, well, I don't know. I never get the numbers straight. Maybe 215, 217 guys on it. So it's not a little boat. It's, it's a fair ship. I keep firing the gun. Meantime, Zombie is putting in star shells. I shoot at the sub, and it would burst. Big light, all different, because he didn't, he completely lost his thing. And finally, when the ship broke, all the power went. So I didn't have what they call the solenoid. So, but there's a shell in the chamber of the gun. So I looked at Bradley, and Bradley says, kick it off. So down below here, for an emergency, you have a kicker. It looks like a clutch in your car, or the brake pedal. Right?
Yeah.
Only it's long and wide. And it's out of the way so you don't hit it accidentally. Reach up, and I hit it, and the last shell went out. I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
No idea. But I do believe we hit the sub, because we weren't that far away. The only reason we might have missed is because of the turbulence of the sea. So now what? I look down, and like an idiot, I don't have a life jacket. The water is ice cold. It's about 38 to 40 degrees cold, right? You're 700 miles from nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Well, so I look over, and Jerry Klaus, the man that's sitting on a gun with me, his face is all blood. What's the matter, Jerry? He couldn't talk. Well, no, man. Pulled him off the seat, was strapped in. Took the straps off, and sat him up on top of this gun case. Same gun case that Zombie was trying to take the wrong shells out of. And he had no jacket. So there's a fellow that was on my gun, Luke Bobbitt. Boy, these names are coming back.
Good.
Yeah, you know how many years ago? He says, we got to go down below and get jackets. I said, are you crazy? The ship's in two pieces. How are we going to, it was just held together by the deck. It was like this now. So anything here would just slide to the center of the ship. It was cut right in half, just as though you measured it. Down we went. Well, we went down. There was water. There was water up over your knees, It was sloshing around. The water's coming up. I grabbed the life jacket, and I said, geez, I got some stuff in my locker. I had some money, But there's no way I could get my keys out, because we had 4 or 5 layers of clothes, heavy gloves that were buckled onto the thing, hats that were buckled onto the jacket, a mask across your face. That's how cold it was up there. And ice is hanging from the end of your nose. It was just terrible. Anyway, I grabbed a life jacket. Luke grabbed one. Tried to get a spare, just couldn't get it out through the small hole. I could just about squeeze through myself. And I'm small. So Luke, big fella, he had to go sideways. He did not work himself out of the hole to come back up on deck again. So look around, I go to put the jacket on Jerry Klaus. And Luke says, I say, what's the sense of putting a jacket on him? Look at him. I look at Jerry, and Jerry's looking at me, but he doesn't know me. I don't know what happened, whether we got hit with a piece of metal or it was when the shock of the hit banged his head on the scope, or what happened. But I put it on him anyway. It's the last I saw him. As I turned to go away towards the forecastle, he grabbed me. Turned around and said, come on, Jerry. But he wouldn't move. He just sat there. So Luke has no jacket. He gave it to somebody else.
Oh,
Now I got a jacket, but he doesn't. Okay. I don't know how that happened. Yes, sweetheart.
He wants to talk to you.
Okay. No. Got the fan on.
Jeremy,
No, I'd rather you didn't.
let him finish the story.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I'm gonna miss him.
All right. So now what are we going to do? No life rafts. They all were released.
Did some people from your ship leave on the life rafts?
They jumped into the water to get on the life rafts. We had, I think, 1, 2, 3, maybe 6 life rafts. and 2 or 3 of these big life nets. There were these big rubberish balls with rope between them. 3 or 4 times the size of this room. They just throw over the side and would float on the water. I looked at them and I saw guys jumping in and getting tangled in it. And then they'd disappear. It's all as simple as, I said, oh my shit, I'm not going in there. So we had this boatswain that just, chief boatswain mate. Boatswain mate's a guy that's supposed to know all about the ship, you know, where the ropes are, how to do this and how to do that. You know, he's a general all-around brain, supposedly. Where he got the rope, I don't know, but he tied it on the forward hawser, which is a big steel thing that's set in the deck that you tie up to a dock. He threw the rope over the side. He said, when you go over, go down and go down slow. Don't jump in that water. The shock will kill you, right? So a couple of guys went down. I'm waiting. I don't go. There's a Polish kid there. I can't remember his name. I remember him being Polish. Anyway, finally Luke was down. So when he started down, I started down. Now we're 30, 40 feet in the air. So down he's going to the side of the ship. You can see oil, guys are hauling. It was bedlam. Another torpedo. Whoosh. I didn't see it, but they told me that. So I get down, and this Polish kid's coming down at me, big son of a gun, and he's standing on my shoulders. His feet are on my shoulders. And I'm saying, ski, for the love of God. Let me get down first, then you come down. I'll wait for you in the bottom. The minute my feet touched the water, I said, this is it. No way you're going to get out of this. This is impossible. It's 700 miles, there isn't a soul in sight. Nothing. Just guys screaming. Mom! Dear Christ, save me. On and on. Down I went. Touched the water. Bang! He let go. I'm sitting right on my shoulder. Down I go. Right? I'm out of sight. And he's got me scissored with his feet.
You're underwater now?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he's on me. He must weigh 180, 200 pounds. And he's got me scissored with his feet.
Oh, he panicked.
He panicked, sure. I don't know how he got out of it. Anyway, I just reached up and I got one leg out and pulled my head out and up I came. I never saw him again. Where he? I have no idea, and I'm right next to him. I hear Luke. Sparky! Where are you? I see him, so I swim. I feel like I'm doing about 98 miles an hour, probably doing 4 feet a minute, if that. We get to him, he disappears. I reach and I pull him up. He said, I'm trying to take my shoes off. I said, how are you going to take your shoes? You look at his hands now, they're half again what they were because of the cold. So I said, hold on to me. So we got to get away from the ship, it's going under. You can look back, you see guys jumping on, you see guys sitting on the deck praying to God, afraid to move. It's unbelievable. But anyway, you could hear crack, crack. Somebody had presence of mind to shut everything down, all the motors would shut down and the whole thing, right? The ship was gone. Now there's over 200 guys in the water. So we swim. I don't remember how it happened. I don't know what happened. I look around and every time Luke's right hand would come out, he had a cross. I swear. Big wooden cross. What'd you get? He said, it just floated. He said, I just picked it up. I don't know. It looked like it was made. It was square. It was like about that square, that long, and about that wide. This being longer. It was just that you would swear if you bought it in the store. It was a piece of wood from furniture or from the galley. I have no idea where it came from. To this day, it baffles me. But that's what he's swimming in. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, and for no reason at all, there's a raft.
Oh, wow.
One of the life rafts. Just, there it is. Nobody on it. Unreal. But it's upside down. But it didn't make any difference. It was like a big donut with a picket fence in between. So you're always in water. You know, it's a stupid thing to have, but they had it. And they had equipment on it. They had a barrel of water, which we had put raisins in to make whiskey. And there were knives and things, but it was underneath. The thing had to be turned over. There's no way to turn it over. Luke got on. They had rings around. I stuck my arm through a ring. We started to pick up guys. Can't remember the names. spinning. Walter spinning. So the life rafts hold about, comfortably, safely, about 10 or 12 people. Next thing I know, I'm still in the water now, holding on. There's 20, 25 guys on it. There's no way you can get on. So I'm saying, jeez, am I tired? I think I'll take a nap. And then, so I off I go. Move. Bang! Punches me in the nose. Jeez. And there was a carpenter mate from Worcester, a Frenchman. Can't remember his name. He's lying in my lap. And I think I'm hitting him hard. Luke says, hit him. I said, I am. Bang! Bang! Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. He starts to spread. All right, says Walter, I says, we better make room. Reach down and pick him up, and Luke says, don't do that. And I said, geez, Luke's got a heart. You know? He wants his jacket. Said, give me his life jacket. Well, it was almost impossible to take the jacket off.
Yeah,
We can't move. You just can't move. I look down, my legs are filling my pants. My little legs are now big legs. My shoes, impossible. I don't know how could you get shoes on a foot like that? But there they were. We're in there, and they're paddling with their hands. You look back, and you see the ship. You see the front of the ship sticking up, pointing at the sky. The back of the ship up, pointing at the sky, buckled up like somebody was going to fold a newspaper. Same thing. Just like you picked it up like this. Hit right smack in the middle. Out of nowhere, a destroyer.
Oh my
A
gosh.
destroyer escort. USS Harrison. USS Harrison. Forget the number, DE 318, I think. No matter. You look, you see it come through. I'm telling you, it's just like movies. Just like in a movie. And it would stop. And they try to pick up guys. Goddamn submarines are still there. And you see them, you know, and the signal, you go, and they take off. We're not a small ship at that, plenty of power. They were dodging torpedoes all this time while they're trying to pick us up. Some of us, anyway. Finally, they got to our raft, right? So, I could look up there, you're looking up quite a bit, and the guy's looking over the deck, you're hollering, you know, come on, grab something. So they had a life net hung over, but you couldn't hold on. You get your arm in there, I saw a guy get his arm in there, everything else, a torpedo, off the ship would go, off he'd go, forget it. If he's from here to the chair away from it, there's nothing you can do. You can't reach up and take him, you can't. It's impossible. I can't explain it, but you can't save him. He's gone. 3 or 4 feet is the difference between living and dying. It's from here to there. 2 more steps this way, it could save him. 1 more step that way, he's a dead man. And he's looking at you, and you say, I'm sorry, but you're dead. I can't do anything. You just can't. I have nothing to give you. Not even my hand. Finally, we get up next to the ship. Look up there, and this big, looked Italian to me, guy, nothing but a skivvy shirt on. And this murderous cold weather with a rope around him. They're letting him down, and he's grabbing guys one-handed, picking them up, dumping them up, coming back, and everything else. I get on the life net. He looks, can you make it? I said, I'm going to try. One by one, I get up there, and I'm here, and I just feel, and I get myself on another rung of the rope. Finally, 2 or 3 guys reach down and grab me by the life jacket. They throw me on the deck, just like you're catching fish.
Ouch.
Yeah. When it was all over, and we left, there were, out of the 218 guys, I'm not sure this number, but there were less than 30 to get back. Yeah.
You're lucky.
Yeah. So there I am, and I'm on the deck, and somebody says to me, what would you like? I said, who's got a shot? Somebody says, Sparky, I got one for you. So who the hell knows me? You know who it is? On this ship, out in the middle of the Atlantic, 700 miles away from no place, is my neighbor, Dr. Henry's son.
Oh gosh.
Dr. Henry, who delivered your father, and me, and Rose, and Ann, and Arthur, delivered all of us, mother's doctor, my doctor. His son is on the USS Harrison. Now, you talk about coincidence.
Oh, kidding.
He says, Sparky. What the hell? I forget. This is Richard. Dick. Yeah. Here, he hands me half a bottle of booze. He said, live it up. So he got me down below, and I'm sipping this way, and I pass it around. He threw us in the bunk, got us to Ireland.
Did Luke make it?
Oh, yeah, Luke makes it. Jerry didn't make it. Jerry was my gun partner. He was the whatever. I was this side, he was the... Yes, we have. There's a lot more to it, a lot of small things I left out. We got to Ireland, and what's happening in Ireland now was happening then. Here we are, right, going through that ordeal. Oh, when we get up in the morning, we woke in the morning, our ship was still afloat.
The one that split in half?
Our ship, yeah, the Leopold,
Really?
was still, you could see it. So the captain of the ship that picked us up were firing guns to sink it, get it off the sea route. Meantime, some of the guys that we brought were picked up, died on the ship, just from the exposure. You know, reason it just was, they were half dead when they got them, and they died on the ship. So that morning, right, they had the burial. I've never seen anything like that in my life. They have a on board ship. I thought I knew my ship well, but on board ship they have these slides that fit on the rail, just for that purpose. And they have bags and canvas and the whole thing. And the captain's there with a book, and he says, from dust to dust, and then whoosh, pick up the slide. The body goes in the water. Now I don't know how many there were. I saw 2 or 3 at least. And I looked up and I saw Henry, Richard Henry, taking pictures. To this day, he promised me he'd give me them. You know, it's just as well. I don't think I'd want to see them. No, I don't think so. So we get to Ireland, and the crazy Irish are fighting. So they give us guns. Luke's with. I said, Luke, can you imagine going to that? Now we're going to shoot Irishmen? What? They're crazy. So we got all the beer we wanted, all the soft drinks. We took all the empty cans and built traps all the way around the windows, around the doors. They give us the guns. If one of those cans go bang, everybody shoots at the door. So we stayed in Ireland for a little while. Then they sent us back this way. We were going to come back on the Queen Mary, right? But they said, no, we'll go back on another destroyer escort. So the captain of the port was there. He said, you think you can handle a DE, the same ship you run, back? It's about a 10, 11-day trip back through Torpedo Junction. I said,
Come on now.
I said, yeah, let's go. If it's home, I'll take it any way I can.
Yeah.
So we get on the ship, uneventful, right through Torpedo Junction, the same way we came, right back into New York, and right back where I was boot camp. Right back from the same identical spot I started from, 2 or 3 years before that. Right there, unbelievable. Talk about coincidence. Guy in the ship, you know, the whole thing. The cross, now back where I started. Only instead of these little dumpy ones, we had the ritzy ones. Hot water, they bring you the meals. Now they're going to hold what they call a board of inquiry. Because of all the 20-odd guys who lived through it all, there wasn't one officer. Not one. 13 officers were gone. One chief boatswain's mate. And the rest were seamen like me. And amazingly, most of them were smaller guys. There was one guy who was a little overweight. Most of the guys were small and wiry.
It's surprising. Usually you think fatter people would live in the cold.
No, it didn't turn out that way. So they split us up into separate cabins and all that because they didn't want us relating stories. So they cut me in there. I was one of the first ones because I was the man with the gun.
Yeah.
Did you hit him? I said, yes, sir. You sure? Yeah. How many shots did you get off? I said, 11. How much time? I told him about 4 minutes. You sure you hit him? I said, yeah. He said, well, we want to tell you that they picked that sub up near Iceland or somewhere heading that way, and they sank it. The Air Force sank it.
It's
It
the
caught-
German ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was damaged. We had damaged it. So it was my gun that did it.
All right.
Yeah, so, wow, but see, that's why I say, you know, at first I said, well, now when I think about it, I say, I mean, what's the sense? They killed 200 of my friends, and and I'm responsible in a way for taking some mother's son, some woman's husband, sweetheart, right? We're just human beings like us. But that's what it's all about. So finally it blew over.